Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 46th episode of the PokéSells official podcast. My name is Rocco Mitchell. I'm your host. And as always, we are going to have this week's podcast with an amazing guest. I have my friend Jason Johnston, also known as PokéBrosExchange on Instagram and other platforms, I believe. So make sure to check them out. So let's just get right into it. Jason, if you could just please introduce yourself for those at home.
Yeah, so my name's Jason. As Rocco mentioned, I run PokéBros Card Exchange on Instagram. I love Pokemon. I love collecting. I love TCGs in general. I got into like trading card games when I was like 6 years old, literally. So I literally grew up in an LGS my entire life.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's me, man.
Cool. That's great. I also, from a young age, maybe not 6 years old, but I've always loved LGSs. That's actually like one of the main reasons why I got into Pokemon was because of my LGS. And something that is like very big, that's like a very big passion for me, which we can talk about later, is owning a card shop. And that's because of like the card store that I went to when I was like, I think it was like 10 or 11. It was my friend's birthday and he took me to this card shop. And like I had an immediate connection where I was like, whoa, this is what I want to do. So ever since then, I've kind of just been like, how can I make this work? But that's super cool. You said, I guess let's get into that. You said you've been doing TCG since 6, but like, what's like, I guess your TCG and Pokemon story?
Yeah, so Pokemon came out when I was a kid, and because I'm in my mid 30s now, I'm an old man. And so that came out, right? And that was like the talk of the town, right? Like they had to ban Pokemon cards at school. And
Really, yeah.
I mean, I remember when Neo came out and it was like, whoa, Lugia, this is insane, right? So anyways, I was really big into Pokemon and I did like Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, and like all the card games. But this gremlin called Magic the Gathering was introduced in my life when I was like 9 or 10. And dude, it was like, holy crap, there is this whole game out here. And so that's how I really started getting into hanging out at the LGS. So I grew up in a really small town in Centerville, Tennessee, and there's like nothing to do there. And so I would just hang out at the card shop like every single day. And I played Magic for over 25 years. And in 2021, a friend of mine who is like huge in the Magic scene in Nashville, I was talking to him and I was like, I would love to just get some Pokemon cards like base set 2, Team Rocket, etc. And he's like, oh, you should hit up my friend Anthony. And I'm like, okay, who is this person named Anthony? And so long story short, Anthony Keener and I became friends. He sold me a bunch of vintage cards and he's like, you should go to a card show with me. I'm like, okay, let's go. And I had been to like really big Magic conventions. And I went to that first show with him and I was like, okay, this is pretty wild. And then Evolving Skies came out and I was like, yo, this Umbreon VMAX is going to the moon. So I was buying Umbreon VMAX from like $350 and I was buying them nonstop. Like I cleared out Facebook Marketplace in the United States and drove Umbreon all the way up to like $900. And I was getting like packages every day of like Umbreon. And so that's how I kind of got back into it. And I just saw it as an outlet in the beginning to have fun, to reconnect with my childhood. And then the money aspect caught me. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of good at this. I really like negotiating. That's a part of my job. And so then I was like, okay, can I eliminate my debt through Pokemon? And I did. Wow. And so that's what started it all, man.
That's awesome. It's funny you talk about Magic because I'm not like I'm a casual Magic player. And I assume that's before Commander came out, right? That was like pre-Commander days when you were starting out playing.
When I was starting out playing, it was right around the Urza's block, like Mercadian Mask, Prophecy. And so back then, Commander was called Elder Dragon Highlander.
Elder Highlander, yeah.
Yeah, and so you could only play with like the Elder Dragons, you had to be Color Pie, etc. So yeah, I mean, I was playing back when the game was totally different, right? Yeah. Just completely different game. I myself, I'm not a huge Commander player. My format of choice is Legacy. So I love playing with like the dual lands and just high power level. Commander is fun, and I think it's very easy to enter. Like the cost of entry is nothing, right? You want to play Modern, you need to spend like $1,500. You want to play Legacy, you need to spend like $5,000. Like Commander, you can buy a deck for $40 and play with your friends, and it's no pressure, you know?
Yeah. I was gonna say me and my brother, we come from like the competitive Pokemon scene where like we would play like competitive, not like anything crazy, but that's kind of like the world that we grew up in, which is why like I do a lot of TCG player because I know the competitive world a lot more too. So I'm like, let me leverage that knowledge into here. But sorry. We played Pokemon, and there's a format in Pokemon called Gym Leader Challenge. It's essentially Pokemon's version of Commander format, which is like it's really fun to play, really cool. And then we ended up getting into Commander. So now, like usually, since we started doing the business side of it, we see more of like our decks are kind of like our PC, but we mostly focus on Commander, and like that's kind of like my Magic thing. And then also we're really big like D&D players, so like Dungeons and Dragons, we play a lot of that at home.
Same, brother.
So that's kind of like one of our outlets too, with like Wizards of the Coast stuff. But that's really cool. And Evolving Skies, that's awesome. So for me, I didn't get really out of Pokemon, but I just didn't like. I was interested on some other things,
Sure.
and so the Prime era, it's kind of like waves for me. So it's like Steam Siege to early Sun and Moon. I was like really big into it. That was like my first like resurgence, like when I got introduced to Pokemon. And then my second, then I kind of faded out a little bit, and then I got really back into it during the tag team era. So the end of Sun and Moon, Cosmic Eclipse is like my favorite set of all time, and like
It's a good set.
Yeah, like those sets are just like my favorite sets of all time. I don't know why. It's just a nostalgia factor. And then I got back into, and then I rode that into early Sword and Shield. Kind of got out of Pokemon during like Rebel Clash Vivid Voltage, and then got back into it like that would have been so like Fusion Strike essentially. It's kind of like when we got back into
it. You didn't miss too much though.
Yeah. So it's like I had different things, and then obviously from that point forward, we got really into it, and now we're doing this. But so I kind of missed a bunch of like the Evolving Sky stuff, or at least didn't have access to it. But there's definitely some cards in there that I really like a lot.
Dude, imagine being me, like doing like my last set that I remember from my childhood was like around the Neo block, and then coming back in like Evolving Skies. I mean, it was like this 20-year gap of knowledge. And that first year, like vending and like really grinding, I was like, I don't know any of these cards or what sets they're from, but I know like the value, right? Like the market value. And so it's taken me really like 3 years to be like, okay, I know which set this is from. I kind of know which era. I know the year associated. That was like, I had all the Magic knowledge, right? I could get, that's from this set. That came out right after this block, blah, 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 blah. And so replicating that in Pokemon was like very difficult.
Very difficult, yeah. That's interesting. My first question, I mean, I see Magic vendors, but there's not like a really big. Obviously, there's like some stuff to it. There's like I feel like in Magic, it's like the super playable cards that are expensive, and then there's like the God cards, like the whatever came out in the Final Fantasy, like the chicken or whatever. Like there's like that. Yeah, there's like that level, and then there's like expensive competitive cards, and that's kind of it. There's not like really anything else.
I
like
feel like
standpoint.
You know, they don't really, Magic players don't really collect like we do, right? Like you cannot play the Pokemon trading card game at all and be like, I like this art, right? Or I'm collecting this specific card, or whatever the case may be. In Magic, right, you're literally just playing the game. And then for me as a legacy player, the things I would collect were like extremely rare reserveless cards, like Power 9 cards, Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale, all the dual lands in 4 and black border. Like that's where you're really kind of, I was the type of guy in Magic where I wanted, and this is like super whatever, I'm just going to be honest. I wanted to bling out my deck at a level to where I made the other player feel uncomfortable, because I generally played combo decks where it's like I can win in one turn. And so I wanted, my favorite way to play Magic was you not getting to play the game. And so I would want to play with like the most cards you could find to just like that surprise factor. So like when you hand the other player your deck, you're like, hey, please be careful shuffling my deck. And they're like, what? And it's like, yeah, just please be careful. And then, you know, like turn one, you're throwing out 20 cards that are all like just the most awesome cards you can get. So
Yeah, that's awesome. My brother is a control player when we do play, not in Magic, but in Pokemon. He's control, so I understand the not being able to play the game. It sucks, but it's fun for the person doing it. But anyway, back into Pokemon. So you said you started vending to like kind of get out of debt. I guess that's kind of like what I was assuming, or started to flip and self because of that. So did you started kind of like, I assume, part time on it? And then are you full time? Are you a full time vendor now, or do you just do it?
I'm a director of engineering. Yeah, there's no time in the day to be a full time vendor. I will never be a full time vendor.
Yeah. Okay. I just didn't know. But what was, so you obviously started to get out of debt, but what was that journey kind of looking like? Did you start locally? Did you immediately go into collecticons? Like, how did that whole thing pan out?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, dude, I literally was just like, Anthony, teach me anything you can, right? And so he was like a wealth of knowledge. And I really attribute a lot of my success to him kind of, I don't know, looking out for me in many ways. And you know, we were friends. We hung out all the time and go to Pokemon shows and stuff like that. But I had started vending at the Nashville show back in like, I want to say like 2021, 2022. And that was like my first show. And I just brought like singles. I don't think I even had slabs. It was mostly vintage that I'd been like collecting for myself. And at that show, I sold an Umbreon that I had bought at like $450 for like $900. And I'm like, okay. And so I had been also collecting like all the Pokemon video games complete in box. And so I was like, I need to start grading. And right, I'm not even like vending a lot. Like I'd been to like one show, and I started grading, and I had pretty good success with grading. Like my first sub was like insanity. And so my girl and I, we went to Collecticon, not as vendors, but just as, you know, people showing up to the convention. And that's when I was like, I got a Luigi poncho. I'm collecting, you know, some like pretty big cards. And I actually took a break after that. Like after that, I was like, I'm just going to chill. I'm going to sell most of my stuff. I'm going to sell, you know, blah, 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 blah. I lost a little bit of interest. And then fast forward until 2024, I had major reconstructive foot surgery for the second time. And I was like, I have to like get back into this. But I was living in Alabama, not Tennessee at the time. So I knew like no one in Alabama besides like my mom, my sisters, my aunt and uncle, my cousins. That was it. And so that foot surgery, I couldn't walk for like 3 months. And I'm just like at home, working from home. Like I work from home. So I was like working from home, not going anywhere. And I was like, by the end of that 3 months, I was itching to go to a show. I was like, I have to go to a show. And I had called Anthony and I'm like, hey, I saw you post like a Mario poncho as well as a Lugia. Let me buy both of them. That'll kind of like get me back into the game a little bit. And so the moment I could walk, like my first show back post surgery was me walking with a cane into a show. And I had to ask a vendor to hold my backpack because I physically couldn't keep it on my back. And I started going to, and like, I want to give a huge shout out to the Flip Trade Show. The Flip Trade Show is one of the best local shows in Alabama. And like, they obviously span a little bit outside of Alabama, but that show and the people involved that run that, Daniel, who runs that, that show is always going to have a super special place in my heart because I grinded that show every single time, like over and over and over and over again. And I quickly amassed a lot of slabs, a lot of singles, pretty big inventory. And more so than that, forget that aspect, I gained a ton of friends. I mean, I went from having no friends in Alabama, not a single soul, to having a huge collective of individuals that I was hanging out with all the time. And from there, I was like, okay, well, time to then Collecticon. And so we went to Collecticon Atlanta, and I was like, man, like that would have taken me 7 small shows, you know, for the profit margin that I'd made at one Collecticon. And so then my friend Ed and I, we went on a tear for like 5 or 6 months. We were Collecticon, Culture Collision, Collecticon, drive to Miami, 13 and a half hours there, vend all weekend, 13 and a half hours back, turn around, drive all the way to Milwaukee for work, stay in Chicago over the weekend, Collecticon there. So that's kind of the journey. And now it's funny, right? Because it's all waves for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm kind of like chilling a little bit more. Like I'm still vending, but it's like it's not pressing to me. Like I'm not chasing anything other than like my own personal collection and just getting cool cards at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very much been like up and down so far.
Cool, that's awesome. Is Ed the collector, right? I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know Ed. He's really cool. He's been a really cool guy and really kind to me. But that's
Very
really cool. The flip shows, I have not vended those yet. That's something that I would like to do.
They're super fun. Very low key, a lot of support.
Yeah, I heard obviously there's one in Alabama, and then I think there's one in Chattanooga.
They're all over.
Yeah.
They're like all over Alabama, Georgia. There's one in Chattanooga coming up that I'm vending.
Yeah.
But generally they're 1-day shows. Sometimes they're 2-day shows. There's a lot of shows in like Huntsville, Dothan, Trussville, Gardendale, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So I'm looking very forward to vending those hopefully in the future. But that's what you said, like about community and stuff with Pokemon is like something I can attest to like 1,000,000%. Because for me, it's not that like, like I'm like well known and respected at school, but it's like how I think and like very much how like I am like being like very like obviously like entrepreneurial and very like going against the grain, not going against, I'm not like your typical person. At least someone in my age range, at least. At least I don't think so. And like I wasn't able to find that really, really big until I did Pokemon. And it was kind of like for me, what Pokemon's offered more than just like obviously a business and like a hobby is it's offered me a network with like so many different types of people, and it's like people you wouldn't even think that would do Pokemon. And it's just like I've been able to meet people that have literally like changed my life because of Pokemon. And like for example, like a more recent example, I've been able to meet like my friend Max, like he's like my best friend now. Like you said, like always we live like on the opposite ends of town from each other, but we're always talking. We're always like, yo, okay, let's gonna do this deal. We're gonna do this, and that's why we kind of started this like thing, which I posted about today. We're starting like a little joint vending group thing. I don't know what it's called, what to like officially call it, but very similar. Like Pokemon it just changed. Like it literally changed my life. Very similar to what you're saying. And people are just kind and like obviously there's the money aspect of it, which is great, but like overall, like it's just offered me such a great network, and my mind has grown so much more because of it. So it's definitely been definitely a big blessing for me for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like where a lot of vendors get it wrong, and not even vendors, just people in general, man. Like, if you want to be successful in life, hang out with like-minded people. Right? Hang out with people that are willing to put in the work, that have shared interests with you, and you will excel. And then second to that, specific to Pokemon and vending and just the whole community, you have to have a network to be successful in this business.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is no like, I'm firm on every single price and I can't do any deals. And like, you're not going to make it. You're not going to go anywhere. You have to, hey, I'll hook you up this time. You hook me up next time. Or like, for instance, like let's say you've got just a ton of sealed, singles, slabs, etc. Good spread. But you want to consolidate down all the slabs. You're like, man, how am I going to sell all my singles to one single person? Well, if your network's big enough, you've got 5 people you can go and do that. And maybe you can trade it directly into slabs at 100%, right? And I feel like that's where a lot of people mess up, man. They don't understand like the people in this community that you become close with care about you. And if you care about them, that relationship that you'll build will only help both of you guys,
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. And that's something I figured out in Chicago, Collecticon, which like that show literally also I think like changed my life and my perspective on Pokemon in general. Because I did Atlanta. Atlanta was like I heard it was obviously a slower show. It was like I was kind of just getting I was getting the bearings of it. But Chicago like blew my head up. Like I was like, whoa. I was like the knowledge and like the thing that I acquired from there was like crazy. And part of that was I figured out how valuable it is to be like a middleman for people and to be able to like connect, like not even meet, like moving other people's cards around. Like, hey, and that's something that I'm like trying to like build and a reputation that I kind of want to like another kind of like cool goal I think I have in the space, because I have like different goals obviously, and is to be like one of like the, obviously I know there's people that middleman a lot and they have a lot of renown and stuff like that, but to start to build that trust within the community where it's like, hey, you want try to, you know, let's say you want to move, you know, 10 slabs and trade it into like some raw for a stream that you're trying to do, or sealed because you have a shop connection that you're trying to offload it. That you can hit me up, yo, Rocco, I'm trying to move these. Can you connect me to someone that would buy them at, you know, these are the margins that I'm looking at, etc. And like that's kind of something that I blew my mind. And you know, you take like a little cut here and there, so you're still making money, but at the same time, it's like being the person that can connect this person with this person or that person with that person, and just help everyone make money and everyone get what they're trying to do. I think is something that's like very cool and something that I'm very much trying to like explore and like continue to work on in my craft, especially within the, I think, Pokemon space, which I think is cool. And I'll go back to your network.
Well, you're helping people out. Like that's the biggest thing, right? Like my buddy Blake, awesome dude, love him to death, great Christian guy. He hit me. He just doesn't have a lot of like followers on social media because he doesn't put in the time. He's busy. He's like a lead security architect, super smart dude. Anyways, he's like, yo, he has like the hookup on some distribution rights, and he had the Mega Charizard in English right from the new set. And he's like, hey man, I'm trying to move this. I've got it listed on eBay. The only sells 2.2K. Can you help me out? I threw it on my social media, sold in no time. And I didn't even take a cut of that. It was just like, this is awesome, dude. We got the second sale of this, right? I contributed.
Yeah. No, stuff like that is cool too. And it's like, for me, obviously at the point right now, it's like where I'm helping friends. I'm pretty much just connecting friends with other friends. But like, and I thought about it, like, how cool would it be for, you know, let's say some random vendor needs to move like 20K in sealed inventory, you know, and they hit me up. They're like, Rocco, can you move this for me? And I'm like, okay, let me look at this. And then, you know, I shop around. I have a buyer. Let's say this guy lives in New York and the other guy lives in California. You know, it's across the country. You're going to need to fly it across the country. Okay. And trust, you know, like they'll be like, okay, Rocco, move this for me. Like, fly, you know, I fly with the sealed inventory from New York to California or whatever it is. And then, you know, I cash it out at the place, give the cash back to the guy, get the Zelle back to the guy, whatever it might be, and then take whatever, 10%, 20%, like 10% of the cut plus whatever.
At least 10% with that much flying.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would be cool to get to a point where like that is what, like an aspect that I'm known for within the space, or something that would be like really cool. Cause I don't think, obviously there is some of that, but like, I don't know if there's like, there's a bunch of go-to people, but that's, I think, something that would be cool. But that's just a thought that I had. And another thing that worked like this weekend, because obviously we both had, at least the first day was like a little bit yeah, it didn't
I got up and walked around the whole time, dude.
Yeah,
I sold one card and I was like, I'm gonna go and like look for stuff.
Exactly. And that's like, for me, something I realized. And for day one, so it was like a little sour, but then day two, I was like, you know what, let me just walk the show. It's not, you know, it wasn't that big of a show, so it's like easy to walk around everywhere. And it was like, okay, let me move this for this. And I did, you know, I middleman like probably like 3, 4, 5 deals, made some money, or made some inventory. Sometimes I even do like, hey, you know, I made you $800. Can I have that $80 card for free? And they're like, yeah, sure. Cool. I take it into my inventory and it's fine. But it was like, I just walked the show, and it was good. It turned out to be a great show. I have a huge stack of like TCG player stuff. Like, this is just on my desk right now, and this is all stuff that I have to process. But
I don't miss the days of TCG player, dude, shipping every single night and looking at your orders and like, you sold this card for light play, but I think it's MP. It's like, are you serious? It was a 28-cent common. What are you talking about?
No, I had, oh my goodness. So the reason why I've done TCG players, obviously I'm still in high school.
TCG player is great, by the way. I think great. It's awesome.
It's awesome. And it's just the most convenient thing for me right now as a high school student, and I was thinking about it because I've been wanting to get into streaming, but I was thinking about it today, and I was like, do I even have the time to sit down for like two hours or an hour and just stream? Or would I rather take those same 2 hours, list, like 300, 400, 500 cards on TCG Player, and then have those sales be generated for me while I'm doing other stuff at school, or like I'm working or I'm doing something else? And it's like, I would rather allocate my time to something that is continual than something that's obviously instant. It's different. Everything has positives and negatives. And it's something I'm still exploring. But it's just the easiest thing for me right now. And it's the most convenient with what I'm doing at school. But
I think TCG Player is awesome. I
Mhm.
think the only negative that I see from TCG Player is if you don't have a lot of time, to your point, man, it's rough, because
Yeah.
it got to a point with me. I had sold my entire Magic collection on TCG Player.
Mhm.
Plus, I started selling Pokemon on TCG Player, and it gets rolling, and you're like, man, every deposit is sick. But when you TCG Player gets to, like, what is it, level 4 seller, I think is the max. Once you get there and you stand up your website and like all the bells and whistles, and you've got your process, those orders go from like 3, 4, 5, 10 orders a day to like 20, 30, 40. And so if you get behind on it at all, or you've got to go out of town, it's like, oh crap, like I'm behind,
Exactly. Yeah, that's for sure, 1,000%. And it's yeah, like I said, there's positive and negatives, but for me, I've had that same issue, for sure. And like after the show, I had to come home and I packed like 50 orders in a night. Like it was like bonkers. And it's like, well, I guess we're gonna be up till 1 doing all this, but it's worth it for the payouts. And then according to what you said is that some buyers are like absolutely horrible. Like I had this person ask me, he was like, "Hey, I went to the post office to pick it up, and post office charged me 39 more cents. Can you refund me for my 39 cents?"
Get out of
I'm
here, man.
like, I was like, whatever. I'm like, sure, just take the third. Like, I was like, first I told him, I was like, hey, that's not really me. That's USPS. Like, I don't know why you're contacting me about it. And he texted me like a week later, 2 weeks later. He's like, yo, can you do that? I'm like, sure, whatever, fine, bro. Just because like sometimes it's just easier to do that than like get a bad rating and then your store goes down and all that type of stuff. But anyway, that was a little tangent right there about TCG Player, but
It's a good tangent.
Yeah, it was a good tangent. Hopefully, people learn from that, and that's also why, shameless plug, Cardflow is great. You guys should go look up Cardflow when they are launching soon. I don't really have a link. I'm not really sponsored, but they've sponsored me for multiple shows, so we like Cardflow. Make sure to check them out. Yeah, so that's great. You said favorite event. Obviously, you said Flip Show. I don't know if you have anything else like Collecticons. I know are always great. If any other like cool little event you've been to stands out for you, but
PokéFest, Cards and More Tour. That show's really good. I've heard CCS is great. I was supposed to have been this weekend. I haven't been either. And I want to go to Frankenstein's. I want to fly to Cali, go to Frankenstein's one time, and then leave.
Yeah. I think I should be doing LA Collecticon to wrap up the year. And I'm looking forward to it a lot, because I haven't been to the West Coast since I was like 1, and I heard that obviously the West Coast card scene is like apparently really good.
It's insane, dude.
It's insanely good. So I'm looking very forward to doing that. Hopefully, I think it'll be cool. It'll be around Christmas time too, which is always nice. And yeah, that's going to be a really cool show for me, hopefully. But I want to also go to Frankenstein's and all those places. And funny enough, one of like the biggest like inspirations I have in the game or the TCG selling space is Clover cards, and I know they're focused over there. I think they have a Vegas location. I don't know if I think they have a LA location, or Orange County, whatever, same like that area of the west side. But
fun fact, really quick, I have to plug Clover cards as well. So like when you vend all the time, right, it's hard to watch other vendors, like, because you're just like, well, I mean, that's my life on the weekends. I have watched Clover cards no matter what. Like, I don't watch another vendor right now, and I watch every single Clover cards video. Those guys they're just cool, man. They're just cool people. I like their attitude. I love their inventory, and like, I don't know, very entertaining.
Very similar. I don't have much time to watch other vendors, but people that I always make sure to watch are Clover Cards. I do watch them go to pools because I love Arvin. Arvin's cool. He's a degen at art, and it's funny.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
he
I
doesn't care.
watch, yeah, I watch some Alpha Investments, and then
What is his name? Rudy. Yeah.
Rudy. Yeah, I watch some Alpha Investments, and then I will watch some PokéAny too, at some points. But
I
no,
met
Clover Cards
PokéSells.
is.
Super nice
Oh,
guy,
really?
by the way. Yeah, I met
Yeah,
him in
cool.
Atlanta at the
Nice.
what Cards HQ. Yeah.
Cool. That's super cool. He randomly posted or commented on 2 of my YouTube podcasts when we were first starting out. Unrelated. He's like, "Yo, keep up the good work. I like this." I was like, "Bet." And then the other one, he was like, he's like, "Really good stuff. Keep on grinding, bro. I'll see you at the top." And I was like, "Thank you."
That's
I
awesome,
believe
dude.
someone with like, like 50,000 followers, like on YouTube, is like looking at my little video with like 100 views. But I definitely plan on meeting them one day, which will be really cool. And that's also something about like Collecticon and stuff like that. You said like it's hard to watch other vendors. It's like I've been able to see all these people that I watch literally in real life. Like I've seen them, I've met them, I've said hi, I've taken pictures, whatever. And it's just like most of them are just who they are on camera than they are in real life. And it's very, very cool. And I think that's also something nice about Pokemon is that people are very transparent and they're like very much themselves in the space. Like there's not a lot of like there's vendor me and then there's like off camera not vendor me. Like there's a little bit of that obviously, but like not. I don't think it's as prevalent as in like most other industries and stuff like that, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you wear a mask, this is true with like work in corporate America too, right? Like, whenever you wear a mask, people see that you're not authentic almost immediately. Mm-hmm. And so, like in this space, if you're going to be one way when you're with customers and be another way when no one's looking, eventually someone's going to look and you're going to get exposed and be like, "Yeah, this guy's fake. Like he's not himself."
Yeah, exactly.
Or I think for that matter.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to be transparent in everything, and I think that's true 100%. I was going to ask, like, what platform you see. Obviously, you vend a lot. I know you did TCG Player. I don't know if there's anything else you've sold on.
Discord.
Really? Well,
sold a lot on Discord, believe it or not. Yeah. Yeah, because like there's let me look. There's a Discord group. It's called Buy, Sell, Trade Pokemon TCG. And it's just it was very easy, at least the last time I sold on there, to just post slaps and take offers of like 95%. It's like, okay, here you go. I'll just ship this to this random person. And it's very, like on Discord, it's very much like you're paying the goods and services fee. Like you're silly to not charge the 3%, especially on like if you're shipping like 2 ponchos, right? Like, yeah, goods and services only. So that's been pretty chill. It's gotten kind of cutthroat recently, like to the point that I don't post on there anymore. But that's a decent platform. And then just eBay. Like if you've got like a Grail or like a super low pop card, just throw it on eBay and wait, and hopefully they hit you up on Instagram, and then you can avoid the fees, and both people are happy.
Yeah. I have sold. That's how I started selling on eBay. I pretty much took my entire personal collection, sold everything on eBay, and then just kept on reinvesting that into business. But I have sold on Instagram a little bit and Facebook, and then in person, obviously, and then TCG Player. But that's really cool. I didn't know. Obviously, it makes sense. Discord groups like that exist. I'm not on. I have Discord. I've been on it, but I'm not like super big into like a Discord. I'm not a really big Discord person. Just because like I don't know. I'd rather do
Facebook groups are better. Yeah, exactly, dude. Jinx. Yeah, the Facebook groups like Burbank, dude. It's hard not to like. If you have good cards, like just sell them on Burbank. It's easy.
Yeah, and like again, like no fees. It's pretty much just meeting at a show, but just online, obviously. But that's same thing. And then Instagram, like random, like okay, so like most random. Obviously, it's not random because I do it every day. Like on my daily reel and stuff. Like I had obviously like the McDonald's Peak shoes that I was posting up, and I had people DMing me afterwards. You're like, "Yo, can I saw that you had it in the reel. Like, can I buy it from you?" Like, just I've never seen them. Like, they don't follow me, but they just hit me up because they see it in the reel. So, like, just social promotion, I guess, like that. Yeah, it's just like, okay, I guess that you saw me flex some burger Pikachus. Like, okay, sure, let's do it. Which that card is. I have 4 of them, and then my boy Max has 2 of them, but he hasn't paid me for them. So
everywhere I look on Instagram right now, every friend is like, "Look at these Pikachus." It's just a stack of McDonald's Pikachus. I love it, man.
Yes. And the vendor I bought them from, he was charging 85, or he gave me a good offer, like $85, which at what he had them listed was 85%, but they're going for like anywhere from like 100 to 120. So I've seen some for 130. So I'm into those pretty good, which is awesome.
There's vendors this weekend were like, I saw a stack at 110. And I'm like, okay, that's not a terrible price. Like, this is a pretty cool card. It's only going to go up. So
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like what me and Max were talking about. We were like, yeah, this is going to probably go up. That, and then all the like the low pop 1 stuff that I have, which I really like and I really enjoy.
We were talking about that at the show.
Yeah, I love ones just because there's a different story. I can bring them out. And it's like I've been able to buy grails at obviously a fraction of the price. Obviously, it's nice to have the 10, but I would much rather get a 1 that has a really cool story than have the 10, which is just like your bland poncho, and it's just worth a lot of money. You know, like there's pros and cons to both of it. But like, for example, like I was able to get a poncho because of it, and like that's awesome. And it's a cool card, and it's like low pop, like it's lower pop than the PSA 10, obviously. Cool stuff like the Shadowless Mewtwo. Like there's just a whole bunch of like, you said you like vintage, so yeah, Shadowless Mewtwo. And then obviously I have these guys. This set.
Those are sick.
Yeah, I hope you get the sequential ones. Latios. But yeah, so those are stuff like that. And I'm doing a deal. I'm currently talking to someone about he wants to sell me. He's who I bought the poncho one from. He has a original Moonbreon, like the Neo one, and a PSA 1 that it's unlimited, but it's like $200, and it's like, 80% of that is easy, nice, very fun. I'm like, perfect, let's do that. Now I'll have a original Moonbreon in a 1, which is just like, it's cool. And it's nice, and I think they have a lot more story. Like, it's fun taking like the damaged card from the kid's binder, and they're like, "Yo, I'll buy this from you for whatever the price is of a damage." He's like, "What? Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, tell me the story behind it." They're like, "Oh, I was playing at the playground, and then my friend took it from me and like ran, and then like dropped it, and then like stomped on it, and it's just like fun to hear that story." And then when it grades, it comes back at 1. I'm like, "This card has like lore." So yeah, I'm doing my first like big PSA sub, and I have like, I think, 5 cards that are hopefully going to 10, and then I think I have 15 cards that are going to be 1s, which is like, it's cool.
And there's a whole market for that too, right? Like a lot of the people that I've talked to that are into the 1 collecting, like, say the exact same thing. Like, I'm getting these grails, I'm not investing a ton of money into them. They're sick, and I get it. Like, I honestly think the 1 collectors are smarter than the 10 collectors, to be real. I'm like, I had 1 PSA 1. It was like an LC Charmander. And I only had it for like 10 minutes. Like, start of the day, boom, it was gone. And I graded a first edition Shadowless Blastoise, and I prayed for a 1, and it came back like a 4. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, should have given me the 1.
Yeah, exactly. And it's obviously, it's like easy to like manipulate it to where it's like it gets a 1, you just fold it in half or whatever. But it's like, that's just like not morally correct. So like, don't do that, obviously. But it's like, just buy a really well-loved card, send it in PSA, and if it gets a 1, it gets a 1. It's great. But there's definitely a market for it. The reason why I got into it, it was pretty much at Collecticon Chicago. I had picked up like 5 or 6 probably, and the only one that didn't sell was this Wailord, and I don't care because this was like my favorite.
That Wailord's sick though.
Yeah, it's a cool Wailord, and it has like this massive crease down the middle. But
isn't the goal to get like the best condition 1 you can? Like, then you can like charge a premium if it's like a decent condition 1.
I think so. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, all the ones that I've had are cooked. Like this one, oh my goodness, this Charizard. I don't know what the kid was doing on this one, but it graded a 1.
That's pretty cool.
Or a 1, yeah, 1 marked. So very, very interesting card. But they just come with stories, and I think they're really cool. About the one thing I don't know. I'm very new to the market still. Obviously, I don't know. I know people that collect them, but I don't know people that know a whole bunch about them. They just collect it because it's just low pop. And then also, last thing I say before we can move on, is that they're very. I don't want to say it's easy to manipulate the price, but like I was able to sell a PSA 1 Mega Charizard, the secret rare, for like $220. And it was the guy was like, "That's perfectly fair. That's perfectly fine." And it's like you can take stuff like this because there's like one sale from like 3 years ago that's like $30, and it's like obviously the market, yeah, the market's gone up. Just put it you slap it on for $100, call it a day, and it's all handy dandy. And that's something that I've found very cool about the ones, is that they're very, for example, the 15 cards that I'm sending in to get ones. Let's say on average, some of them have more comps than others, but on average, it's going to be $100 a card because that's just a fair price, I think, for a 1, including grading fees and pickup costs and all that stuff. That's like $1,500 easy. Like it's just easy to kind of like predict that. But
when your risk reward is like super low.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Like when you buy like something crazy and send it off, you're like, I need this to 10. Like if it 9s, maybe I only break even or some crap like that. Mm-hmm. It's like with that type of stuff, you're not putting in nearly as much, but your profit is so big in comparison to your investment.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I know you grade a lot. So what's kind of like been your experience with grading? You said you obviously used it to help start, but like what's been your experience with grading? And then kind of like how has that affected like your preferred inventory, since I know you do mostly slabs?
Yeah, so I've always been on the rule of like have a lot of singles, because like Collecticon, like singles just like disappear. And I've done Collecticon where I'm like, I'm running out of singles. I have to go and buy singles. And it's interesting because things have kind of changed in that regard. I'm getting to the point that I'm grading so much that I don't really see a need to have singles any longer. And the problem is PSA is taking so many of my subs. Like you get 100 card sub back, 77 are sold to PSA. It's like, I mean, it's not a bad problem to have, don't get me wrong, but it does make it hard to just continuously grade all the time. But yeah, my experience with grading is like when I got back in, I was very interested just in grading in the process because I didn't really know much about it other than like I had a reserve list magic card that was graded. And so just hanging out with the people that I was hanging out with, I started asking a lot of questions and getting opinions from someone that I consider an expert on grading. And my first sub went like fantastic. It was like I sent in all alt arts and a 1997 like Magi Venusaur, and like almost everything came back 10s. And like the Magi Venusaur was a pop 1. Nice. And so I sold all that on eBay at the time because I didn't really know about the community in the way that I do now. And from there, I just started grading more and more. And like when I was traveling heavily, my goal was every show we have a sub of at least 20 cards. But at that point, I was only grading like bigger cards. Mm-hmm. So the returns took longer to get up to 20 like alt arts or 20 whatever. And so after I kind of moved back to Tennessee and got settled in the new house and kind of life changed, I was like, why am I only grading cards that are $300, $400, $500 plus? Like, why don't I just grade everything? Like literally everything I can get my hands on, if it makes sense to grade it. Like I'm not going to grade something that no one would want, but if it's like a $10 card, a $5 card, a $20, who cares? Like let's just grade and see what happens. And so my first really big sub came back with that, and my gem rate was like 90%. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is insane, right? Well, then my last sub was like a gem rate of 60%. So I've changed my strategy. I'm actually going to share my strategy. So after that sub came back at the 60%, I had a reality check. I'm like, okay, so I'm not that great at grading like I thought I was. Maybe it's all been luck, but I was like, okay, any card that I think is iffy, if there's like one single white dot, if there's just one single flaw, that's going to CGC. And then only the cards that pass like the second, third QA check, because I'm looking over everything multiple times. That's the stuff that goes to PSA. And like I hate CGC for the most part. Like I've never been into CGC. I've had a rule for most of like my vending experience of like I can have one CGC slab and that's it. And my first CGC return came back a couple months or about a month ago, and I got like half the order was like pristine 10s, and all the pristine 10s except for one because it's pop 3 sold on my Instagram immediately, and then the rest got moved in like one single show. Awesome. And so I was like, oh man, CGC is the play. Who would have thought? So that's kind of like what I've been doing with grading and kind of like how grading worked out over the long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. And I pretty much do only PSA. I know a little bit of tag, and CGC are kind of the other ones. And how I like to see it kind of is like in like watches, for example, like PSA is like your Rolex, like your standard like Rolex, like nice watch, like that type of stuff. And then like Beckett is like your Patek, which is like a more like niche watch that not a lot of people like. Obviously, people know about it, but it's like it has its own type of market. And then like with your Black Label being kind of like a Richard Mille or something like that. And then CGC is kind of like your Casio, or your Seiko or whatever. Like you're kind of like more like everyday, like affordable, like
it's your fossil watch.
Yeah, exactly. That type of thing. And that's how I've always taken to like grading and stuff like that. And that's really cool. I've never done a CGC sub, but if you're saying what that works, then that's great. And it's usually when you're selling CGC, who usually buys them? Just like collectors or like?
So I'm not a shy man at all. And I just go to every single vendor and I'm like, I'm looking to move some slabs. You buying CGC? Boom, here they are. And most people, not most, a lot of people are like, no. And then some people are like, yeah, sure, if we can work it out. It's like, cool. Because like a lot of my friends, like I had one friend, I mean, he's still my friend, but like early on in our friendship, he was like super heavy into CGC. And I was like, bro, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm telling you, I've got a market for it. And he just knew people that would move it. And those people are still out there. So I just kind of shop it around. But again, the pristine 10s though, I just post them on my Instagram story. And I don't have a huge Instagram following, but like they're gone. Like they're just gone. Like I sold all of them in 2 days. It was crazy.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And then so how is like the pristine 10 CGC, it's like comparable with like a PSA 10, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Right. So it's their Black Label.
Yeah.
I would say so it really depends. Sometimes it's over PSA 10 price, way over. Sometimes it's a little bit under. There's like, I don't know, there's not a whole lot of times that I've seen to where it's like been a PSA 10 value versus like a pristine 10 are the same. There's always like over or under for some reason. But I mean, pristine 10s actually look good. It's just, are they actually pristine? Probably not.
Yeah. It's kind of like the whole thing with tag right now, where there's like a market for it, but sometimes it's over, sometimes it's under. Which has been really interesting to see tag, because I spoke like was it my third guest, or one of my early guests on the podcast was why am I forgetting his name? Jesse. I don't know why I forgot his name. But he is like an investor in not CGC and tag. And he's like really cool guy, really awesome. Owns a store in Vancouver with his wife. And they did like real estate before going into Pokemon, and now Pokemon's like their side thing. And his PC is crazy, like the most insane thing I've seen in a while. Like tens of PSA.
Absurd.
Yeah, just absurd stuff. Like I think he was one of the first people to complete all the gold stars in a 10 or something like that.
That's insane.
Yeah, like something like crazy stuff like that. But he was someone with tag, and he obviously vetted for tag. And what I've seen too is like it's very easy to buy a tag 9, crack it, and then send it in. It gets a 10. So they're like obviously because it does like photo technology / AI to use to crack and then put it into a PSA card is like the return on getting a 10 is really cool. And I actually did that. Funny enough, the Charizard V-Star, I bought it in July. So speaking of long PSA returns, I bought it in July. We sent it in. It still hasn't come back yet. But it was a tag 9. sent out to PSA, and we're still waiting for it to get back. But I sent it out when it was like a $400 slab, and now it's like I think like in the 800 range. So I'm like very happy with that.
Winning.
So yeah, it's just been cool. So it's obviously sucked to not have it, but when it does come, it'll be a nice little Zardy to have, for sure. But yeah, that's kind of what I think I have. I have that sub. I have a small 151 sub that I sent out with some friends, like the Blastoise, the Pikachu, and the Venusaur, and then I have this sub that I'm sending out with my friend with Jim, which will be really cool.
I wish you luck, man. I hope all the subs come back 10s, except for the ones that you want to win.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's kind of the cool thing with it. And thank you. I hope so. I'm not really big into grading, but I've seen that, and I've heard obviously it's like the best way to multiply your inventory value. It's just 100%. It takes so long,
and you got to be good at it.
And you have to be good at it, exactly. Because if you let's say you grade this card, and it comes back a 9. It's probably going to be less than raw in that value, and you waited 3 to 4 months to get it back. So it's just like you would have made more money if you just sold the card. And then
if you want to get it back quickly, dude, you want to get it back quickly, like I'm almost glad you brought this up because it's such a pet peeve of mine. Like I ship everything to PSA value, so it's $27.99 a card.
Mm-hmm.
If you miss on a $20 card, you're like, oh, cool, I just wasted $30. Yeah. If you're doing 75, 80, 100 cards or more, and you're paying that much per card, it's like, that's why that last sub that I got back sucks so bad. It's like, oh my gosh, like I just got absolutely destroyed in insane grading fees.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like it doesn't make sense for some stuff, and it's horrible. It's just, and like value plus, I think value, it's like a 1 month thing now, or like a couple weeks, or what is it?
For value that I do, I think it's like 45 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you a PSA member?
I am, yeah, for sure. I enjoy reading the magazines every month.
Nice.
I'm just gonna look this up. Let's see. All right, so value is 45 business days, and then value plus is 25 business days.
Okay.
Cool. And value max is 20.
Dang. But that value max is like 100 something bucks, right?
Value max, I don't know, because I've just got the AI generation on Google. Let's see. Value max is $60 a card. Yeah. Value plus is $45, and then value is the $27.99.
Cool. That is awesome. Well, that's cool. I might have to. Well, I don't know. At 45 business days, you said, and then bulk is like 65 business days. I'll have to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I did one sub bulk submission, and I was like, dude, I can't wait 4.5 months. Like, this is crazy. Yeah. We got to do something. So I just started paying the extra money.
Yeah. So, and if it makes sense in the margins, then it makes sense. But if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. Which is, I'll have to talk about that. But that's interesting. And that's awesome. You got integrating. It's so weird, but something that I've like always wanted to have within the space is like the PSA backpack. I don't know why.
I got the PSA shirt for that reason, bro.
Yeah, it's just like, I think it's just a weird like rite of passage or weird like thing, like honor thing to have. And they look like good quality backpacks too. So I don't know. Something I'll have to look into getting. But yeah. My next question, so the question I always like to have on the podcast is what I call like, what is your first Charizard? Essentially for me, it's kind of like, what was that defining moment in the TCG or in the experience in the TCG that kind of like set you in and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, this is something that I want to do, something I want to pursue. Obviously you've been in and out. So maybe you've had this multiple times. Obviously you said with your foot, like after getting surgery, you wanted to, you had an itch to get back into the hobby. But kind of like, what was one of your like defining moments or like something that you enjoyed a lot that kind of like set your foot in and you're like, this is something I want to do. And then after that, like what would be kind of like your favorite card / favorite Pokemon?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of different thoughts kind of flowing in my head on that one. I think that I was on Whatnot and I was watching Anthony stream. This was in the early days. And he was running these like near mint Magi cards from 97. It's like Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. They're sick, by the way. Like I love Japanese cards. They're absolutely sick. So I think I spent like $3 or $7, something negligible on this Venusaur. And I talked about it earlier. Like I sent it in, it graded, came back a pop 1. And then I had to hit up Anthony to be like, help me move this. And he was like, bro, are you serious? But I did really well on that card. Like my return, like my investment, right, multiplied in insanity. And that was kind of like, okay, I want to grade and I want to do this. Mm-hmm. There's also been some moments too, to where like, I guess I'll answer. So that was kind of like the business making money portion. I've had people come up to me at shows and talk to me on social media to where they give me a very descriptive, like, this was my first interaction with you. You helped me obtain this, and then this happened. And it's this feeling of like gratitude that I was able to do that for them, when to me it was just, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. Like, I'm just doing what I do and trying to be friendly. And I think that was like one of those heartwarming, big emotion things of like, I like this. Like I feel like God put me on this planet to do something. I don't know exactly what that is yet in my life, but being kind to people and helping them, like, man, maybe that's what he put me on the planet for. I don't know. Because it sure makes me feel good,
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And very similar for me. Like, I love to see the face, or like when you're like, I had this happen a couple times last weekend, or whenever I'm on a show, this like little group of kids with their family. It's like 3 kids, their mom and their dad. And they're like, hi, what's up? And they look at the cards. They're like, wow, these are really expensive. And I tell them like, yo, what's your favorite Pokemon? And they're like, oh, it's Pikachu or it's Charizard or whatever. And I have all these like cheap Vs that, I paid like 5 cents for, 10 cents for, or whatever, or these cheap like cards. And it's like, look through them, give them to the kids. They're like, whoa, what? Like, this is really cool. And like, it makes the parents happy. It makes the kids happy. It makes me happy. And it's just awesome to give back. And I think that's really cool within the Pokemon community. That's not in like any other community, is that like the generosity from the people and generosity from the vendors or other people, like, is something that's very, very cool and very awesome, I think. And like, just I've had those interactions too, and it's just heartwarming, and it's like, it's just awesome.
That kind of happened honestly over the weekend, and I haven't forgot your question, but I just want to say this. I was trying to collect some cards for like a master set I've been working on or whatever, pretty big master set, and this little girl who's like a daughter of one of the vendors is vending, and she's got all of these cards laid out, like not in a case. And this guy's there, and he's a part of the Nashville community. And he doesn't even know that I'm there. I'm like behind the table, just like looking through a vintage stack. And he's like talking to this little girl, and he's like, she's got commons, like bulk commons, and some, like bulk reverse hollows and stuff like that. And he's like, I think I want to buy this card and this card. And it's like stuff that I would give away. And he gave her $20, and like, she was so excited, like so excited over that. And that's the part of the community that maybe, I think it gets brought up a lot and it is shared on social media, but like maybe we still don't talk about it enough, of like those little moments that happen just because we like Pokemon, exactly. That's cool.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, with it being a hobby, and like just helps, it's awesome to see the face of people or stuff like that, or like for like, just, it's just awesome. It's just cool. And or when you give people, like, I know I'll probably quote Max or what he does till the end of time, because he's like genuinely my best friend, and I thank Pokemon for that. But he has binders and stuff like that. I don't do a lot of binders, but he does a lot of binders. And he'll give, if it's a girl coming by or like a tiny, like a small child, and he'll be like, he gives like those types of deals essentially, where it's like, yo, it's a $10 card, I'll give it to you for $5, or you can have it for free. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
whoa, it's like super, it's super cool because like if it's most shows are generally good, you're gonna you made that $10 already, or you've made that somewhere else. So it's like, why not? And it's something that's cool, or something that we did at Cards and More. Speaking of Cards and More, which was an awesome show, we got trick or trade packs and we made like little gift bags. Essentially, like we took one of these, put a trick or trade pack in it, put a little cheap Japanese EX in it, or Japanese revert, cheap Japanese card, and then we just started giving them out to everyone that we saw, and everyone's face was super happy, and people were just great. But it's just a test, I think, to how cool the community is and how wonderful and like compelling and just cool the people are. So yeah. And then on the opposite end of that, you have people that I feel like take advantage of that, or at least they know what they're working, and that they're working vendors and stuff like that, and it can be annoying, and it could be like, if it's like a little kid and they're like, I've had it to where also on the opposite end where this little kid walks through and he's trying to do a trade up challenge or whatever. It's like a cooked grass energy. And he's like, yo, can I have that $20 card for this? I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy, I can do that. But it's just like, I think it just depends on how it's given and how it's like, how it happens, I guess.
No trade up challenges for adults, and I stick by that at all times.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. 1,000%.
Zalf Gamer 2 on YouTube is the only man that I've ever done a trade up challenge with, because I think what he was doing with the challenge is cool.
Yeah.
So but other than that, like I'm not doing that.
For sure.
By the way, your question, my favorite Pokemon will and forever be Big Man Lugia himself. Lugia is the sickest Pokemon ever created, and they talk about like power levels of the different gods and Rayquaza and Dialga and blah 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 blah. In my mind, Lugia is by far the strongest. So I'm just a huge Lugia nerd, man.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Lugia's dope. I love weird Pokemon, so I like Wooper a lot. I like Slowbro or Slowpoke a lot. And I recently really liked Rayquaza because there's this random Rayquaza card that I saw. There's actually two. Let me pull up TCG Player really quick. And I love Gen 2, by the way. So Lugia, Ho-Oh, all those guys, I love it. That's one of my favorite generations. But here, let me put Rayquaza. There's two Rayquazas that I love. Hold up, let me share screen. Right, can you see?
Yeah.
I love this Rayquaza. This Rayquaza is sick.
That is a good Rayquaza for sure.
I love this card. I like the old XY because that's like the first thing that I started with. So old XY full arts are by far amazing. And then this random, I saw this card while I was listing some cards on TCG Player, and it's just like the most random card, but I think this card looks sick. This promo Rayquaza.
I think it's pretty sick. What does that come from? Sword and Shield promo.
Yeah, it's a weird SWSD.
SWSH.
Yeah.
I've never seen that Rayquaza before.
I've never seen it before, and I was like, "Whoa, this is cool." It came out of. Oh, it came out of a V Battle deck.
Gotcha.
So, but I love that Rayquaza. I don't know why. I just think it looks cool.
Now you've got me looking at Rayquazas.
Yeah. But I don't know. I recently figured out, because obviously, people will say your Charizard or your Blastoise or whatever, and there's like the big Pokemon. So for me, it's like Slowpoke, Wooper, and then I guess now Rayquaza is like the big one that I like a lot. I just think it looks dope.
I like Blastoise. Blastoise is like, yeah, probably number 2. I think Blastoise is sick. I find myself buying a lot of Blastoise cards I probably shouldn't buy. Yeah. And then I hold on to it for like 3 or 4 months, and before it's finally gone.
Yeah, I like one of my also favorite cards is this card. I feel like I show it almost every podcast, but it's just a dope card. This boy.
Oh, yeah. I have this in a 9.
Oh, you do? Nice.
Yeah.
Was it Anthony's?
Yeah, it's like Anthony Alberto than me.
Yeah. I remember when he had that. But this is cool. Like, just his stance is like sick. I think it looks like he's just in the rain chilling. The 1.51 Blastoise is cool. And then
I like Dark Blastoise. Yeah. Just first edition Dark Blastoise. Like, I think it's such a sick card.
Yes, for sure. Hold. I think. Let's see here. Dark Blastoise. This one? Yeah, this one's so.
Oh, that's the non-holo.
This one is sick.
Yeah, that guy right there. Yeah.
Stuff. Only what's a mod play first?
I sold that card over the weekend and I regret it already.
Oh really? Was that the PSA card that you sold?
Yeah, it was a 9.
Yeah, that's cool. Now Blastoise is chill. Out of the original starters, Venusaur is my favorite. I don't know why. I like Venusaur.
Yeah. You don't hear a lot of people say that they love Venusaur.
I like Venusaur, and then I like. Speaking of Johto, Gen 2, I love Totodile. That's like one of my all-time favorite evolutionary.
For Alligator, super cool.
Yeah, so I just like, and then I'm playing Emerald right now. I have a refurbished Game Boy Color that I bought. Speaking of old Pokemon games, and I like Mudkip too. Mudkip is one of my other favorite Pokemon, so I like that. I picked this boy up at a Grails and Glory show actually, and really fun.
I've got my Game Boy Color in my closet with my original blue from when I was a kid, and like all Pokemon are like 99, and it's like my actual copy. And like I've saved it for so long that last year I actually went and bought an adapter for my computer so I could store my save file, because I'm like, I don't ever want to lose this.
Yeah, that's cool. Is it the like original save file from when you were a kid?
Yep.
That's sick. That's really, really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. There's a big market for Pokemon games. Obviously there is because it's Pokemon, but I didn't realize that until I bought Emerald. It was like a $200 game. I'm like, dang.
Oh, dude, I had most of the Pokemon games. I was only missing like Box and a couple of others. I had them all complete in box. Dude, you're talking about that stuff is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is super expensive. But it looks so good on a shelf if you're like a collector and you want to have like, this is crazy. It definitely make like for the 90s kids, I think it hits different for like some of those games, you know?
For sure. I think it's cool. And there's something for me, like just like actually putting in the physical game in a console or something like that. It just hits different. But that's super cool. I wanted to ask you, because so kind of like what you said about like your, obviously this kind of, we had this conversation, but like your perception, like how different perspectives that you have on the TCG hobbies or like vending and stuff like that. I would love to hear kind of some of the things that you said, or something that you would like, if there's anything you'd like to share that you think is like different about that. I'd love to talk about that before kind of like going to other things.
Yeah,
give you the floor.
I've had a lot of conversations recently where people have asked me, what's the next thing? What's going to be hot? You know, like, what do you think, Jason? What do you speculate on? And I'm like, there's two sides of me. The first side is like, okay, I have an actual answer of what I think, which is not a secret. Just buy vintage. Like, seriously, buy vintage. There you go. That's the secret to life. And then second is, don't worry about what's going to go up. Like, even if you're just in this to make profit, you don't care about anything. You're like one of those vendors. Just buy what you like to collect, and there's nothing wrong with having a niche. Everyone says like diversify. Have singles, have slabs, like have modern and vintage and mid-era. you don't have to do that. Like, that's not a bad strategy at all, obviously. You can also just have the stuff that you like, as long as you're willing to let go of it, and it's like liquid enough that you can. And so that's something, that question was asked me like even last weekend. And I'm like, they got to stop chasing this so much that they're worried about that. Like, just don't worry about that as much. And I mean, I wouldn't buy a card that you're like, oh, this is a dud. This is, 100% going to go down or something like that. Like, take all that into account. But I don't know. I think if you just start collecting the cards that you like and you don't mind holding on to, whether it goes up or down or sideways, right? That's the secret to all this. And I don't know. I was thinking about that a lot whenever we were talking, and I'm like, I feel like I want to say that because I have people that I care about that I should have said that to, but maybe I didn't feel comfortable directly saying that to them. And so this is in a very public way, for me to kind of state that. So.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome. And I agree with you 100%. Obviously, vintage, I think, is a safe route, and something for me that I've really recently found that I love, because obviously I have a bunch of modern 151 cells for me, all that stuff. But I really enjoy, like I said, like obviously PSA ones and like low grade, low to pop stuff. But I also very much love like mid era. So obviously tag teams have blown up recently, megas have blown up recently, but even before those all blew up, like before, I've literally said it probably since like the first episode of the podcast, is like one of my goals is to have like every single mega, either PSA 10, either all PSA 10 or all black label, something like crazy like that.
That would be insane.
Yeah. So like to have something like a crazy collection of that, of like all the tag teams. And that's just because of nostalgia factor. But like, I sent out for my sub, like the sub that I'm sending out, there's like a whole bunch of like old EX full arts from X and Y. There's a whole bunch of like the Radiant collection stuff. There's a whole bunch of like just random stuff that is, I find like fascinating. I love, and it kind of connects me back to my childhood. But I agree 100% with what you're saying. Like, yes, it's good to have modern. Yes, it's good to have like a variety at points, especially if starting off, I think.
For sure. When you're starting off.
Yeah, like definitely like collect what you like and then collect with liquid. And also something I'd like to add is stay away from like the really, really big stuff. Like for example, like the Charizard. Like I had two 151 Charizards, and I had one Mega Gardevoir from the new Mega set. The Mega Gardevoir fell $50, and the two Zards fell like $30 or something like that. So I lost like which is obviously, it's not like a crazy amount of money, and I actually went around it by trading into like a bunch of these burger chews for super cheap, and like a whole bunch of stuff that I offloaded on TCG Player the next day. But like I would stay away from like super big cards unless it's like later, like early mid era, I think is what like you would call like that era, and then like vintage. I think those are like safer, more stable plays right now. But that's just me. I really don't know. And this
I'm not buying modern right now. That's for sure. Like everyone's like, oh, the dip. I'm like, I mean, it's just going to go back up, right? It's like anything else. But I don't know. Modern has those swings that you just don't see in vintage. Mid-era has intense swings right now, I feel like, where it's like, oh, this set's being printed. Megas are going to go to the moon. Tag teams to the moon, up and down. And it's like huge amounts of variance. And I'm like, I like mid-era. I think it's some of the best cards printed. But those swings hit me in like a really large trade that I did not too long ago. And I'm just like, I'm just going like bear market right now.
Yeah, for sure. But that's kind of like my hunch on it. I don't know. I'm very, like I said, I'm still relatively new, so I don't know all these stuff. And I knew, like, I went into this because obviously I want to make like a career out of this. I want to build a bit like an actual Pokemon business. My goal is like to build like one of the best card shops, probably
LGS
in America. Yes, like build one of the best card shops / brands, like either in the world or in the US at least. That is like really well known for Pokemon. And I knew going into it, like, there's going to be bear markets. There's going to be up and down. It's a market, You know, it's all types of stuff. You're seeing that, and I think like Pokemon, especially, is like just a reflection of like other markets right now, and like crypto and like stocks and like all that type of stuff. Because you know, like the stocks have been like going down recently. You know, Bitcoin is like really Bitcoin tanked like 20K in the past like couple months,
Yeah.
or past like month, which is like it sucks, but it'll go back up, and still overall over the whole course of the market, it's still at an all-time high, which is like not even, you know, and it's holiday season, people are offloading to buy presents or whatever people need to do. And it's like you just got to roll with it. But what I really think, and I also think I'm very grateful for this bear market too, because I think it's going to weed out those that are in it for the long run and those that were just in it for a quick buck. And I think for over the long course of the hobby and over the long course of the selling aspect, that it's healthy, obviously,
I think
and
so
it's
too.
good. And if anything, now's a good time to buy stuff because everyone's offloading at, 50, 60, 70%. Like people are offloading at ridiculous amounts. And for me, if like someone's offloading like $500 worth of singles for 50% and they're happy with it, and the margins, like the dollar price of those singles is anywhere from $5 and $15, I can list that for like 105% the next day, and make like 55% margins or 48% margins after TCG player. And it's just like, I'm okay with that. And like, I've found ways and I've built up ways to dodge the markets and kind of move around it in a way. And I think that it's good to be diverse in what you have inventory, but then also the mediums of what you're selling. And that's also something why I like middlemaning, is because one, it's obviously they're not my cards, so I don't have the liability. Like obviously you have the liability if like a deal goes sour, all that type of stuff. But if the card, if they're trying to sell it and it goes down, like you can't, you just, I'm just doing what you told me. You told me to move card A from card point. You told me to move this card from point A to point B. I'm doing that. I'm taking my cut. It is not, I'm not gonna, don't get mad at me if the card goes up $100 in the next 2 days.
Sure.
I'm doing what you told me. So it's like, you take that, like, I take that stress kind of leaves. So it's like finding those different ways to move and like adapt to market shifts, I think is very important.
Yeah. And I mean, it takes work to do that too. Like to really set up those different avenues. Like I took the easy route. Like right now, like there's a closet over here that's just sealed. Like I went into, I'm going to really, and I've never done that before. I did it with Magic. Like I used to put back sealed with Magic for like 2 years. And that worked great. And then Magic turned on the money printer and the card printer. And so that doesn't work anymore except for like the collector stuff. But anyways, I've just been like putting away products like booster boxes, any exclusives, whether they're Japanese exclusives or like super premium collections, ultra premium collections, stuff like that. And then just collecting vintage for the most part. And I could try to like navigate around what's going on, but I'm like, I don't have a whole lot of time, just with like work and family and stuff. So I don't know. I think I took the easy route, but I'm waiting it out. Like what you said earlier, I completely agree with. Like the people that jumped in and make a quick buck, I hope they go, because before the market was like it is today, like the market a year and a half, 2 years ago, that was a good, healthy market. That was reasonable pricing. That was, the availability of sealed product in store. The community felt happier. I mean, not that the community isn't happy, but like it was a different, in my experience, it was, the two markets are vastly different. And you can see that in conventions and, just different shows. There's always been those guys that are straight up sharks, but I think a lot of people that I've encountered recently, more so than before, like I'm here for one reason. And I get that, like, don't get me wrong. But I just don't think it's healthy for the market to stay like it is. And I don't think it can.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of feels like everyone was like drinking the Kool-Aid, or everyone was like just drinking, like, everyone's like partying. Oh, it's just going up, 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 up. And then it crashed, and everyone's like, it crashed like, and the thing is, it crashes like 10, like 12, like it wasn't even that big of a percentage. And everyone's already like, oh no, it's the end of the, like
Let's dump
everyone.
everything.
Exactly. And it's just like, oh my goodness, like you're mad that your $1,000 card is now a $900 card that you probably bought at $800. So you're still making $100 off the sale, but you're mad because you're not making $200 off the sale. And let's take the other example. Let's say it was a $1,000 card, you bought it for 90%. You bought it at $900. You're still breaking even. If it even goes to like 88, 83, like 88 to 85%, you're going to be losing like only, like not that much amount of money. Now, if you bought that card, let's say you bought a $10,000 poncho for $12,000 and now that poncho is like $8,000, that's on you for making a dumb money mistake. And like not, like it's like people like were just riding the wave. Like it's like you have to be smart with it. And like obviously no one knows if the market, it's like that famous quote from like the Wolf of Wall Street, no one knows if the market's going to go up, down, twisted, sideways, flip, do a backflip. Like, but at the same time, it's like very, like you can still make conscientious decisions and like you can still play the game smart. And it's not, and if you're not in it to lose, like you're going to lose money. Like you're always going to lose, like there's going to be times when you lose money and you just have to deal with it. And it's gonna suck in the moment, but over the course of it, you'll be okay. And that's like,
and those mistakes happen early on too. Like that's when it sucks the most. So like anybody listening to this, that I tell people, like, oh man, should I get into like trading cards in Pokemon? And I'm like, no. And they're like, what do you mean no? You do it. I'm like, no, you shouldn't do it. I've went too far to turn around at this point. Like I've lost so much money in the first 3 or 4 months of vending that it makes me sick thinking back, like of serious vending, because like you don't know until you know. And then you start to see certain things and you're like, okay, cool. This has totally changed like my decision making. Yeah. So that's like to overcome those losses in the beginning, I think is difficult.
Exactly. And that's something that has sucked for me, but you have to learn from it and you have to adapt from it. And then also I know, and Brew, has said, I hope I can say his name. I hope he's okay with that. If you're watching, Brew, I'm sorry, and I might just cut that out. But anyway, our friend who is like a very big whale in the space, figuratively and like cash wise, that's what he, and something he told me, and something that like I'm proud of him to say, like to get recognition from him was like great. And me and him were able to bond a lot. And I was bringing stuff left and right. But he's like, Rocco, you hustle. Like I know I lost like $300 on a deal in Chicago because I accidentally comped a card wrong. And I'm like, dang it, that sucks. But you know what? I'm gonna hit the streets. I'm gonna do the vending, and I'm gonna make my $300 moving other people's cards. And I did that. So it's like you're gonna lose money, but as long as you know, or you have ways to make it back, or you know that over the long course of time you're gonna make your money back, I think it's okay. And that's with anything. If you are, how I like to see it is like Pokemon entrepreneurs, essentially. We're building a business, or whether you guys realize it or not, if you're selling, vending, you're building a business within Pokemon, essentially. You're using it as your basis, your machine. But it's very much, any business is going to have that, like, or any person that's trying to make money doing stuff, you're going to have those mistakes, and that's just going to happen because we're human, and you just have to roll with the punches. But I'm sorry, I get really passionate about this type of stuff.
No, that's how you gain wisdom, man. Seriously.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's because I've had to learn these things the hard way, and like the last thing I want is other people to experience those and like also face those problems. But you can only do so much, right? But anyway, that's my soapbox. I want to talk about, you saw, like, obviously this market's crazy. What do you think about the big like PSA and all the repackers like buying stuff at like 95%, or like the rumors of all that type of stuff? What do you think about that? I want to know your opinion on it, because obviously you said you've sold stuff to PSA and it's been hard to grade, but like it's affected how you grade. But like what do you think about that?
Okay, I guess I'm just going to be like super honest, right? Like I try to be a super blunt, transparent person. If that continues, I will no longer vend, because I won't have a reason to vend. Because I just go, I mean, my main thing is beyond like trading and setting up, and so, customers coming to me and selling to me, or working out a deal with a friend, that's a great way to excel and keep growing. But also, I think that with the market the way that it is, if you can just show up to a show and sell your cards at 90+%, a lot of the vendors won't have a reason to set up. And so that shrinks shows and stuff. That's my personal opinion, but I know that that can't continue. Like the 90+95% buyouts at shows, like there's no way that can continue, right? Like maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I don't
see
know.
what you're saying. Maybe it's something that they're doing right now to make like a big statement, and then they'll refrain back from it.
Maybe they're trying to amass like an initial inventory. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know, and it's weird. It's like, and again, it's weird. It's like just part of the thing for being like a little fish in a big pond. Where you have like whales swallowing up everything. And most of the people I'm middleman for, and I'm selling to, I'm selling like, 200 junk slabs to, I'm middlemaning someone's 200 junk slabs. I asked the person, what do you know? Because I have the connections. They're like, oh yeah, we just sell it to a Union Arena or whatever the repacking thing is, or we just sell it to PSA and we get, our percentage back. So people are just like, I think it's there to make that quick, easy buck. And it's definitely, I think there's a time and place for it, I think, because if they're buying, let's say it's a repacker and they're buying 3,000 junk slabs at a time from you, and you weren't going to move those junk slabs anyway, I could see that. And maybe it's a bunch of bad subs that, need to get sold. But I think that, I don't know. I think it's very scary. And it's just another variable that I think vendors are going to have to like try to navigate. And I do think what you said is right, where I don't think they're going to keep up doing it at these ridiculous, outrageous percentages, but who knows?
I mean, like you can go to any Collecticon and there's people walking around buying stuff at 90%, right? Like I've sold so many singles at 90% that it's absurd at Collecticon. But when you're going to smaller local shows that aren't Collecticon and there's multiple people buying at like 90% or wiping out like half the room. It didn't used to be like that. That's not normal in my opinion. And now that it's becoming normal, it doesn't make me mad or like, oh, I wish I was getting those deals or whatever. It's just like, oh, this is not healthy for the hobby at all.
Yeah. Do you think it's a response to how mainstream Pokemon's been and how it's kind of being emerging as an alternative asset class and like alternative like thing?
The alternative asset class is probably the number one reason why the hobby is the way that it is, because USD, there's not a lot of faith in it, right? Like you've had USD, our credit rating downgraded, this whole BRICS thing, right? Trying to devalue the dollar. There's obviously a lot of inflation, and the USA's in all this debt, so the dollar's not as strong as it has been, and that's why we saw like gold surge over the last few months, even though it just dropped with Bitcoin. But yeah, I think seeing it as an alternative asset class. There was some guy, I can't remember who it was, some like CEO of some big, I don't know if it was PSA or someone, that said the market can't continue the way that it is because like 10% of I can't remember the ratio. It was something like 10% of only 10% of Pokemon is actually going to collectors, or I can't remember, but it was basically saying that like people that have a lot of money are investing in Pokemon. Like that was the general consensus that the guy wrote. So
yeah, I think that's true. And like, for example, like I posted something, I think it was like the Van Gogh Pikachu's like beat NVIDIA, or like whatever, like NVIDIA by like crazy. Like, it's just like, what the heck? And like NVIDIA, it's like, I think it's the
first company to ever hit 5 trillion.
Yeah, market cap. That happened last week. And then it's like crazy. So like this thing happened, which in like the traditional finance world, it's like, wow, what the heck? This company hit $5 trillion. And then there's a Pikachu that beat it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
or you compare a Rolex to a Pokemon card and look at their value growth over a 5-year period. And it's like, I mean, Pokemon's beating literally everything but gold, right? Like, I think so. Yeah, I think gold is the most, and we'll see where it lands. Maybe Pokemon's on top. That would be insane.
Which is crazy. And I mean, like, hey, that's great. I mean, that means we're doing something right? We're finance bros in some type of way.
Well,
but
the
it's
reprint is
like,
coming too. That's one thing we haven't talked about. So Pokemon announced they're going to reprint like basically the last 5 sets or whatever.
that is okay. I
Yeah.
think
So
I
like,
saw that. I didn't know what that was about though.
yeah. So like people are dumping sealed right now. And so I think that's also causing, like with everything else going on in the market, that is also at least causing people to kind of panic.
Hmm. Yeah. So when did they announce that? I'm not like too
It was
informed on
recent.
that.
Let's
And
see.
that affects raw price, correct? Yeah, that does affect raw
Mhm.
price. Yeah. But it's mostly like the heavy hitters. Like the cheap stuff doesn't really get affected that much, no.
Yeah, and I mean, if the demand stays high, it just gets reprinted and then scooped up, and it's the same thing as it has been.
Yeah.
So it's like, your box drops by this much of a percentage, and then it's back
Yeah.
up.
But speaking about what you're saying about like big money coming into it, I recently got Card Ladder. Like I'm a Card Ladder Pro now, and I find it really cool that it shows you the daily sales recap.
Yeah.
And it's like, for example, today, I don't know how accurate this is, but it says 321 $321 and $77,000 was sold today, which I don't know if that's good or not. It seems like a low day. I don't know if all the payments have gone through, but it's like it's crazy. Or like for example, like I was looking at the chart and like on September 26th, $8.2 million was sold. And it's like, whoa, that's like a lot.
Have you ever looked at the statistics around the PSA vault?
I have not, no. And
Okay.
I still don't know the full concept of the PSA vault because obviously I'm not like a super big grader.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So I saw these stats recently, and it blew my freaking mind. And this is just AI summary. It's not even coming from their website. I would have to find that page where it's all listed. But as of late 2025, the PSA Vault has over 1.1 million items vaulted, valued at over 550 million, with more than 1 million items sold through the platform since January 2024.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, man.
And it's like you think about it, like for example, going to CollectorCon, there's easily $500 million worth, like $500 million or more in Pokemon there. And it's like I remember. So one of my friends went to the first Grails and Glory show. And I, walked in, said hi, what's up, very supportive. And they just asked, like, yeah, how much money is in this room? And I'm like, oh, probably like 1, 2 million, maybe a million or whatever. And it was like our first show, very small. And she was like, what the heck? Like, are you for real? I'm like, yeah, let me show you right now. And I bring her to like I forgot whose table it was. I'm like, yeah, there's like $500,000 in the case right there. And they're like, what the heck? And like, for me, how I see Pokemon, and something that I always say is like it's this tiny doorway. If you're trying to sell, it's this very tiny doorway, but once you get through that doorway, it's a crazy, like a huge space, and your eyes are like open to all this stuff. It's like the iceberg. There's like the baseline collector, like the little average vendor, and then there's like everyone, like like the big time vendors, and it's just like huge, and like the market share is crazy. But that's something that I think who was it? Jackson said like he did the national, like the actual national, like not Nashville's national, but like the sports
Yeah.
card one. And he was like, yeah, there was easily probably like $1 billion worth of like collectibles in there. And it's just like, what the
Well,
heck?
everyone thinks Pokemon's insane in comparison, but like everyone's like, oh, can you believe this? And it's like, this is how sports cards have been for
Yeah.
quite a while, but it's like collectibles in general right now are surging in value, and it's just more so than it's ever been. And I think that's evident. Like there's still some sports cards that are insane. Like I wish I knew more about sports.
Same actually.
I love college football, but like I don't watch like the NFL. I don't enjoy that. Like I don't really watch like baseball or anything like that either.
Yeah.
Just college football. Like I'm from the South type thing.
Yeah.
And anyways, like some of those guys over the years that I've been vending have switched from purely sports just to Pokemon. Because like just as a value class it outweighs sports, I think overall. So
I think it's cool, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. And if it goes up, down, sideways. And sports is something that I wish I kind of knew more. I'm not a big sports car guy, but I would probably would like, if I had a PC, it would probably be a couple One Piece cards. Obviously, what I've said with like tag teams and maybe some ponchos, and then some sports cards because like I'd love to have a Messi, I'd love to have like a Michael Jordan. Obviously, I know that they're expensive. At least I think they're expensive, depending on what rarity or whatever. I still don't
I know
understand
the
the
rookie
concept.
non-reprint is expensive.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
all that type of stuff is like I don't really know, but it's stuff that like it hits home a little bit more. And yeah, I don't watch a lot of sports. Like I watch MLS and Premier League. I'm a soccer guy. And then football, I'll watch the Super Bowl. And I applied to University UTK. So I hope that hopefully I could go see some Vols games.
I have a
If I
tattoo
Oh
right
really?
here of the state of
Okay.
Tennessee with a UTT in the middle.
Nice.
Like I'm a diehard Tennessee fan.
That's
Although
awesome.
this year it's like every other year this year's been a little rough with like the loss to
Mhm.
Alabama and then that game last week. It's like Oklahoma. It's like come on, man.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing?
Yeah. So I hope to, maybe I'll get a little bit more into it, but that's kind of like, if anything more, it's like the atmosphere that sports gives me that I love. Like, for example, I go to soccer games here in Nashville, and we have like one of the best stadiums in the MLS. And I go to the supporter section, which is like loud, rowdy, like it's just fun, and it's just like the energy that sports gives me, which I find really cool. And primarily also bringing it back to Pokemon, I find that similar energy. Like I remember in Chicago. We did the show all day, which was awesome, super high bliss. And then we went to eat afterwards, and literally, there's people doing deals on the like in while we're eating, like while we're waiting for my food. I immediately go into the deals. I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, like the energy, like it's just that easy way to like connect with people on a different level. And like it's cool to meet people and like do deals and wheel and deal and that type of stuff.
I like when people get like hyped up. Like I'll hit that stride at like a show.
Mhm.
And I mean, I remember at like Atlanta Collecticon, I went on a mission to get a BGS 9.5 Lugia first edition from Neo, and I came back with a PSA 9, and it was like I was riding that energy, like that
Mhm.
super hyped up, like almost like some adrenaline pumping. And you're just like making things happen, and everyone
Gotcha.
around you is like, "Oh, did you get it? Yo, you did what?" And like, I don't know. I really enjoy that portion, and I really enjoy
Exactly.
trading. Like, I really, really, truly enjoy trading. I think it's like the best part. It's why I love trading cards, right? It's in the name,
Yeah.
and I really like trading inventory out. There are a lot of times where I'll just take a stack of slabs, right, and I walk around. Like, all right, let's
Yeah.
see what we can make happen. I'll do
Yeah.
even trades a lot of the time, and I really enjoy that portion. I guess is what I'm getting at.
No, for example, yeah, for sure. And I agree with that 100%. And it's cool. And trading is like a good way to experience inventory and see what works without putting down the money for it. Or for example, let's say like how I said I had some cards drop me and I'm like, okay, let me trade out of this. I'll be okay. I'm like, making a little bit more percentage, whatever it works. But it's definitely, I think, it's a cool aspect and a different aspect. Like when you're doing a sheet, you have like sales, buys, and trades, and I think like it's really cool to like have that all separated, for sure. I know we have been going a while, and I know that you work. Obviously, I want to respect your time. Um, I believe you said your favorite memory within the TCG. If you want to hit back on that, that's great. And then obviously you said your favorite Pokemon. Um, but my other question, obviously, it's like getting towards the end of the year. What are kind of like obviously, you said you're chilling a little bit, but kind of like what are your kind of goals for the end of like 2025 and then like going into 2026, kind of what you're looking at?
To be completely blunt and honest, I am probably looking forward to not attending as many shows as a vendor and like walking around,
Hmm.
just because I've really fallen back in love with Pokemon as a collector. Like
Hmm.
I like vending, don't get me wrong, but like I also have started to enjoy collecting because the whole time I was vending for those years, I never had a PC. Like I remember I would like text Anthony or text Ed or my buddy Daniel and be like, oh, I'm going to PC these cards, guys, and like have a stack of like slabs out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just wouldn't, it would go right back into inventory. And so I really went hard on like the master set, and I've been collecting Lugias, man, like trying to get as many PSA 10 Lugias as I can, or as close to PSA 10 as I can get. And that's really made me have a lot more fun after I was a little burnt out for a while. And so I'm looking forward to that. Just grading a lot, collecting Lugias, completing my master set, and just trying to have as much fun with it as I can while still making enough or investing enough, because like I really am enjoying just collecting sealed as well. I would like to just continue that trend and see where it takes me. I think that's kind of my goals right now.
I think it's awesome. What's your master set that you're working on? Good to it.
Yeah, so base set through Team Rocket with all the Wizards of the Coast Black Star promos. And I just really started, and I'm like 60-something% of the way there. Awesome. And most of the cards I'm missing are commons and uncommons and the promos themselves. So I just got to finish it out. I would like to complete that by the end of the year if possible. But I think I'll complete everything but the Black Star promos because like getting Lucky Stadium, getting Pokemon Center, I can get them and I can trade for them for sure, but it's finding them. And everything that I'm master setting has to be light play or near mint. So that makes it more difficult on those cards as well.
Yeah. Sam, the guy I had last week, Sam has cards. He loves the Lucky Stadium. That's why
he hit me up this morning.
Oh, really?
He was like, look at what I got. And I was like, what is this? And he's like, it's Lucky Stadium sealed. And I'm like, dude, please tell me you want to come off that. He's like, oh, no, this is for me. I'm like, But I gave him a huge congrats because that's an awesome pickup. And Sam is like such a nice guy, by the way.
No, he's cool. He's like one of the most genuine people I've met. And it's just also like he has a cool PC. Like his PC, I wouldn't have expected. Like, because I'm also
that Charizard he picks up is fire.
Yeah, I love the I don't have a PC, mostly because obviously vending, I want to make money. But then also I'm not like super, I don't think it's that time. Like I'm not like, I think that there's not a lot of cards that like are like, ooh, wow, I want that card immediately. And it's like, there's just stuff that I wouldn't like. My PC is like stuff that means a lot to me. And like, it's connected to moments in time. Like for example, I have a signed card by Bearded Dad. I have this random Bonsley that I got for like 10 cents. It's just the butthole Bonsley. I love it. Bulbasaur signed card, Coops collectibles, and then go to pull signed card. And it's like stuff that I like have connections with, and like I was physically there when they signed the card,
Right.
And like memories. I have video of it. It's like memories with it. And then another thing I have, and I also love to collect shoes. I wear my shoes, so I buy like used shoes and stuff like that. Wear them. It's just something that I like to do. But I also have. And then another thing why I like shoes is because I kind of miss like the whole hype beast like resell era, which I think I would have like I would have enjoyed that era a lot, but I just was too late. And then also I have this hat, Magikarp, the Pro Shop hat. But it has every vendor signed on it, or almost all, like awesome. A lot of the big names. So like Go to Pulls has it signed, Flipping Cardboard signed it, Coops Collectible signed it, Bearded Dad signed it. Powder TCG signed it. My boy Reed signed it. RJS Collectibles, Garchomp signed it. So like a whole bunch of like big names things, and it's something I can wear. It's like I can pull up at a show, wear it, and it has no one. You can't really see the signatures, but you can see that it's signed. Like I know it's signed, and it's like something that means a lot to me.
You got to keep that hat forever, dog.
Oh, no, I am. And that's like, I want to do. It's like when I wear that hat, I'm in the Pokemon vendor mood. Like I have all the vendors like with me, kind of like, doing all that stuff. So I think it's really, really cool. But yeah, that's great. And I hope you complete your master set. I'll try to look for stuff for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I need a Charizard still. Like of all things, I need a base set Zard. And I cannot find one that's like light play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So probably gonna buy a slab and crack it.
Unfortunately, like a PSA 6. or something
Like
like that.
yeah, like a 6 or 7.
That's cool.
Just boom,
Yeah.
take that sucker out immediately.
Yeah, I think that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I love stuff like that too, like goals like that. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else that you really want to like talk about that we didn't get into that you wish we got into? I don't know if there's anything we need to wrap up.
I think I've got a nurse in there that works like 15 hours yesterday, and I haven't got to see her, so I'm going to go hang out with her.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Jason,
Yeah,
for
of
coming
course,
on.
man.
This was an awesome conversation. I love this.
I had fun, man.
Yeah, no, I hope everything goes well. Where can people find you, and where can people find you?
Just my Instagram, PokéBros Card Exchange, all one word. Unfortunately, when I chose the name PokéBros, I didn't realize how many like different variations were already taken on Instagram, so I had to go with the Card Exchange route. But I try to post there pretty regularly. Like I keep my story kind of flowing with like Pokemon related stuff and just like crap I'm doing. Like I'm one of those guys. I'm like, this is cool. I'm going to post it. I don't really care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
And so I try to stay semi-active on there to the point that like my personal Instagram of like just my life, like I stay on my Pokemon Instagram pretty much 24/7. So
Awesome.
I have a YouTube that like I haven't taken videos in a while. So yeah, just hit me up on IG.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you. Instagram's great. I love Instagram. I post there pretty regularly. And for me, it's like, why not? Might as well do it. I'm doing it what I love doing. I might as well record the journey. People are going to see it. And I have like a very set goal that I'm trying to hit, which is great. But thank you for coming on. It was wonderful to have you on. And thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, share, and we will catch you guys next week. Thank you. Peace.